Okay, I believe you are live. Hello, son. How you doing? So, today I'm not really sure what I'm doing on the live stream, but I was working on this character, and I just thought, why not come show you guys some new stuff. If you guys have any question, then you can ask. But I'm just going to keep on working on this character. Son, how you doing? Okay, so I'm in the final stages of making this character, and I'm choosing camera angles, and I'm also trying to render everything out. So that's currently what I'm doing for this character. And let me just choose the correct, yeah, this looks fun. Hello everyone that just joined the live stream. How you guys doing? I hope you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, say yes in the chat so that I'll know that I'm not just talking to myself. Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, please say yes so I'm not talking to myself. Hello everyone. Okay, I'm just going to keep on going. All right, let's choose nice camera angles for this. Let's go into rendered mode, and let's find a nice suitable angle for this character. Okay, the echo, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I have just reduced that. There's a stupid setting on this microphone that increases the echo, so I have turned that down right now. Hopefully everything should be fine. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, I like this angle. I'm going to duplicate this camera, and I'm just going to move this. I need another angle for the back of this character, and we'll need to change the lighting at the back just so that it's not blown out like this. Something like this for the back. So this was the concept, and actually this character was a character I was working on while I was teaching a student of mine how to make 3D characters. So we're working on this. I was working on this one, she was working on her own character, and let me actually show you guys her final results, because I love the final results she ended up with. So if I just scroll down to my website here and I minimize this, so these were some of her results. I taught her in my mentorship program over the span of 12 weeks plus. I think we got 13 weeks or 14 weeks, and these were her final results. So she was working on this character, then I was working on this character, showing her how to create characters just like that. So yeah, that's where this character is. She has finished her own, but I'm going to finish mine on stream right now. So if you guys have any question about my workflow, feel free to ask. I was not going to live stream today, but I just decided to come on. So here we are. Okay, camera angles. This one looks okay. Okay, Big Man Maggie. Wow, that looks really cool. Was her character also from concept art? Is really good adaptation. No, it was not from this concept art. She had her own concept art, so she made her character from that concept art. So yeah, but while in class I was making my own character, and I was showing her how she can translate all of that into her own character. So that's what I was doing. And let me just do a test render of, I like this view. It's right here. I'm going to just render this out a little bit, and hopefully this doesn't like lag the live stream a little bit. Rendering, hopefully that doesn't lag the live stream, but let's see. And I'm rendering at only 10 samples, so let me just cancel that. And I'll take the sample count higher. Let's take this to 100 for now, since we're just doing test renders and F12 to render this out. Okay, so I like the textures here. It's still rendering, but I like the way the textures are looking on the clothes. But right here, I think we are going to need to use some shape keys to fix the shape of the cloth. So that's one thing to do. Shape keys. Oh, oh no! I just pressed Ctrl Z. Okay, I cancelled the render, but it's fine. I'm going to need shape keys to fix up the clothes right here. And then what else? Yeah, let's go ahead and just do that. Let's use shape keys to fix up the deformation of the clothes and make sure it also doesn't intersect. So I'm going to add a new shape key here. Key 1, I'll name this pose underscore fix. And let's go ahead and just pose this. So this right here we don't want, so let's just spread that out. And then let's take a look at the concept. You can bring this down. Let me just open up another window right here so that I can actually see what I'm doing. 3D viewports, and I'll go to the camera view. Okay, and I'll turn off all overlays. I don't need to see this. Okay, hi, someone is asking a question: will you upload this stream later on? Yeah, the stream is all streams are always on my website. Sorry, not on my website, on my YouTube channel. I don't know why I said websites. All the streams I do are always available on the YouTube channel. I don't get rid of any of them. I don't get rid of any of them. Where do you freelance? Website. Where do I freelance? Please help me ask that question much clearly, because I'm not sure what you mean by where do I freelance. I freelance in Blender. I don't know. Just help me. Just rephrase that question, and I'll probably be able to help you out with the question. And then I'm just going to smooth this out. Something like this looks good. Let's make sure that the clothes also is not clipping through the mesh. I'm going to bring this out, and let's just make sure that we have nice lines at the tip of the clothes here. I'm going to use the grab brush for this. And also make sure that the clothes is not intersecting. Okay, that looks nice. Let's also do the same right here. Do you have a website? Yes, I have a website, but the website is, if you just want to learn how to create 3D characters, it's going to be the first link in this in the description. learn.kenizart.com is the first link in the description. You can check that out. That's where I teach. If you want to make 3D characters, maybe for your portfolio or for your animations, definitely go there and apply. Join the next mentorship program session. The next one is going to be in January, so do well to apply. there are no spots yet open for you to apply right now. I'm going to open that very soon. I'm still working on a few things behind the scene, but yeah, any information that you want to know about the mentorship program, you can check out learn.kenizat.com. It's going to be the first link in the description. Right, this looks okay. Just going to pull this up a little bit more, and then let's also just smooth out this intersection at the back. Okay, I want to do freelance. Can you suggest something like which website is good? How can I get work? Okay, if you want to freelance, the way I have done it is to post your work online. When you post your work online, people notice and they send you DMs they send you the gigs, they come to you. Other ways of doing it, you can go to Upwork. I haven't used Upwork. I don't know how that works. I don't know how Fiverr or any of those works. I have profile on there, but I've never actually used it to get any jobs. The way I did it is going on Instagram, what's the word, connecting with other artists that do similar stuff to what you want to do, and yeah, I just get work like that. So that's how I would suggest for you if you want to also get work. But you can also use Upwork and Fiverr. Okay, let me actually give you, there's this guy that actually released a video about, let me see if I can find that video for you. There's one video I watched about freelance. Let me just pull up that video and I'll lead you to that. Hopefully I can find it right now. I'll go to my history. Just give me a moment, everyone, and let me find that video. I'm still here, guys. I'm just looking for the video, so that's why I've gone silent. I'm taking a look at it. I'm looking for it in my YouTube history. Okay, yeah, I think I found it. Okay, so this video right here, Brandon Leary, how I make 100k plus per year as a 3D character artist. Yeah, go and follow out. Just check out this video. Search for this video on YouTube, and yeah, it should give you more useful tips than I did. So yeah, just go ahead and find that out. It's almost the same thing what I said, but yeah, just check that out for more info. Okay, now let's actually get back to this, and let's just make sure everything looks decent. And let me also increase the subdivision levels so that I just see what I'm working with. And I'm also going to use the relax slide brush, and I just smooth out the topology of the clothes here. Okay, something like this looks good. Okay, something like this looks good, and I'll also just push this in a little bit more so that looks like a fold on the clothes. And while I'm doing this, I don't know actually if these live streams are actually interesting for you guys, because I just come here and I do what I like. So is there anything that you guys actually struggle with when making 3D characters? And I'll try and just answer that question. Like, is there any parts of making characters that you find difficult to do? And also, if you enjoy these live streams, like if you actually enjoy these live streams, just let me know in the comments. Like, why do you watch these live streams? Let me know in the chat. I mean, not in the comments. If you're watching this after the live stream, then in the comments. But if you're live right now, just let me know why you like watching these live streams. I'm going to add another sheet key right here. I'm going to bring the value up to 1, and I'll also name this pose_fix. And I'm also going to fix up this one. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to hide the hair for now. Hide the hair so that we can see the back of the clothes. And then I'm going to pull this down into a much nicer shape. Okay, that looks nice. I'll switch back to this other object, and let's just pull this back. Okay, something like this looks nice. I'm just cleaning up the shape of the clothes for the final renders for this pose so that we can get the final renders. Okay. Okay, someone actually replied, don't stop the live, bro. I learned a lot from you. I recently followed your video and followed your method. It was helpful. I even sent it to you on the Discord server. Okay, nice. I want to share how effective your teaching is, whether live or content video. All right, nice. Okay, someone X retro. Hi, could you model 3D requests? What does that mean? Do you want me to model something that you tell me to model? I could if I like it, but if you're talking about freelance, I'm not taking those at the moment. Okay, so yeah. Okay, this looks good. Let me unhide the hair. Nice. I want a 3D model of characters from Ugly Duckling and Me. I don't know what that is, so let me just search it up. And if I like it, then I might make it in my next stream. ugly duckling. And me, 2006 film. So you're talking about this, am I right? Is this what you're talking about? I I don't know if I want to make this on live stream, to be honest. I don't know. No, I'm not going to do that, unfortunately. I'm very sorry, but I'm not going to do that, unfortunately. I'm not going to be doing that. Hi, you changed the streaming time, just joined. I actually didn't change the streaming time. I didn't want to stream today, but yeah, I just decided to stream. So from next week, the time would be the time I used to the last time, if that made any sense. So yeah, I'm going to continue streaming the usual time I do from next week. You want to make your fan-made version of the TV series? Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. Why do you need me to create it for you? Do you want me to show you how to create it so that you can create it, or you want me to create it and then give you? I don't understand. Do you want to see me creating it so that you can create it? I'm talking to Retro Windows Fan 2000. That's a wonderful username. So just let me know, and then maybe I'll change my mind, but I don't think I want to make that. Okay, this looks nice. I don't like the way this stuff right here is deforming on the rig. I haven't found a good way to, because if I add in shape keys, it does this weird stuff. Just like those really weird stuff. And I don't know how to fix that for now. I'll figure that out, but probably not on stream right now. Okay. Can I suggest character aging from I don't know how to pronounce that, but let me search for that. This guy right here, you want me to sculpt this? Yeah, this could actually be nice for your live stream. Yeah, actually like this. I don't know if you're on the Discord server, just like leave me a picture of this guy, just drop it on the Discord server, and then I'll save it for next live stream I'm going to do. Yeah, this looks cool. I could make this. Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get back to this. Now let's go back to choosing camera angles. This camera angle I like a little bit. Let's see how it looks in cycles. I'm just going to lock the camera view here so that I can adjust this from this view. Okay, this camera view looks kind of okay. Let's see this one. It's like basically the same thing, but I'm going to leave that one for now. This one I like a lot. And yeah, I like this one too. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, this one's close up. And the back, for the back we'll need to change the lighting, but I'll do that later on. Okay, so I don't like this camera 001. I'll just get rid of that one. Alright, and I also want to do a turntable for this character. So I'm going to duplicate this camera And to make a turntable is really easy to do. I'm going to rename this to cam_turntable, and I probably want the turntable to about 240 frames. 240. Set the end to 240. And then to make the turntable work nicely, we can add in a empty cube. This is going to be a turn around control. Okay, and I'll just move this into the correct areas, and we can parent this camera to this turnaround, and I'll just move this into the camera collection also. Okay, nice. And now we need to animate this empty cube going 360 so that the camera follows it. Okay, nice. So key, and I'm going to add in a new keyframe for the rotation, and then on frame 240 we are going to rotate the cube by on the z-axis by 360 degrees. Hope that's correct. RZ 360. Okay, and then we also key that, and now if we play this we should see the camera moving around. Let's just hop into that camera, and yeah, this looks nice. And I like that speed. Let's see what it looks in rendered mode to be a bit slow. Okay, that looks okay, nice. And let's see, I also want to bring the lights to this, so I have only one light, so that's convenient enough. So I'm going to select the lights and the cube, Ctrl P, and I'm going to parent that to the object, and then let's nice. Now when the camera is turning around, the light is also following, which is nice. Okay, I see. Question: did you retopple the body, or is it still a sculpt? So this is completely retopologized. At the beginning of this video, I said I was making this character while showing a student of mine how to make 3D characters. So this was what I was working on, and my student was working on her own character. So yeah, this character, I went through the whole pipeline: texture painting, topology, everything. This is the final stages of just making renders and turntables. So yeah, that's what I'm doing on this live stream. So everything is completely topologized. I even baked UVs or baked normals for this character. So yeah, everything is topologized. Okay, let's see what else do we need to do. The turntable is working just fine. And now I'm going to show you guys a trick for if you want to render out, maybe let's say you have still cameras, like still camera angles like these ones, and then you also have a turnaround. So the way I like to do this, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras. So I'm just going to select this cube that has the animation for the turntable. I'll select all the keyframes, and I'll just move this to frame 5 or frame 6, and then on frame 1 I want this camera, so I'm going to jump to that camera, and then I'm going to bind it to this frame. Ctrl B is the shortcut, and then I'm going to go to frame 2. I'm going to select this camera, and I'm going to bind it to this frame. The shortcut for that is Ctrl B, so Ctrl B is the shortcut. If I go also to frame 3, I'm going to select this other camera, Ctrl B to bind that there. I'll go to the next frame, select this camera, Control B to bind that there, and I'll go to frame 5, select this one, Control B to bind it there, and then from frame 6, then we can now switch to the turntable camera. So this one, and Control B, select it right there. Okay, nice. And so if we just scroll through the frames, this is, let me unhide the hair. Okay, so this is frame 1, and if you just go through it, it's going to switch between the different camera angles. And now you can, instead of rendering each camera out one by one, you can just render it out as an animation, which is always nice to do instead of rendering it out one by one. And then if you start from frame 6 to frame, let's see where the turntable ends, so right there, 245. So I'll set my end frame to 245. So from frame 6 to frame 245 is the turntable. And yeah, that looks nice. Let me also show you guys something interesting I did here. This floor plane is reflective. Let me just go into rendered view so that I can see that a little bit more. So if we take a look right here, the floor plane is reflective, and then it fades out into the background. So the way to do that, let me show you the shader editor. I'll go up here and into the shader editor. It's just a very simple node setup. So we are using a gradient texture set to spherical. So if we preview this, this is what this looks like. And then if we plug that into a color ramp, we have this excuse me, we have this gradient right here, and then we can use that to mix between a transparent BSDF and a glossy BSDF. Let me actually try changing the, and I'll just add in one right here. Okay, I think something like this looks much nicer. And Ctrl Shift left click, and yeah, something like this also looks nice too. And then the backdrop is actually controlled by this sphere. So I have a sphere with the background color that I want to have at the background. Okay, nice. So what else do we need to do right now? Let's see. Okay, let's just render this out. I'll go to frame 2. I'll make sure to unhide the hair, and let's just render frame 2, and then let's see if there are some things that we would like to change once we render that out. I render at 100 samples for now, and then let's render this out and see. Okay, and let's just wait for this to render out. And we're going to take a look at some of the details on this. So that should be done anytime soon now. Okay, that is done rendering, and let's see. I think we need to make the top of the eyelids a little bit more glossy, as a little bit more reflective, just so that it looks a little bit more reflective, yeah. And then for the skin shading, I don't think subsurface scattering is on, so I'm going to turn that on. The subsurface scattering just makes everything look much nicer. So let's just go ahead and turn subsurface scattering on. Okay, select the skin. Okay, subsurface scattering is turned on, but just like a tiny bit. Let's increase this to 0.7, and let's see. Okay, the band on the arm, does it have an African bead texture? I think so, yeah. So what I was just doing, I was just absolutely copying the reference. So this was the concept I'm using. This was by Ed. I found his work on Instagram, and he gave me permission to create his work in 3D. So yeah, I believe these are where I got all the patterns from, and then I painted them by hand on this character. So yeah, let's see, what do we want to do? We wanted to make the eye a little bit more reflective. Okay, so let's go back to the layout, and then I have this texture. I'll just clear the pose for now, just so that I can paint on both sides of the character with X symmetry. So I have these color attributes for the eye roughness, and what I'm going to do is to go back into the vertex paint. I'm going to use a completely white color. I'll reduce the strength a little bit, and I'll just paint in more parts of the eye, just so that I want here to be more reflective. And then we can blur that out. Hold down shift to blur it out. And maybe that's a bit too much. Let's just use a completely black color, and then let's remove all of this. Okay, something like this looks fine. And then let's go back into the shader editor. So this is not like a very complex node setup right here. It's very simple. I just have the roughness, normals, and the base color. That's mostly what you need to worry about when you're making skin shaders. And then let's go ahead and plug in the eye texture or this mask on our character. So right here we have that mask, and I'm mixing it in with our original roughness, and I just used a mix shader to mix that in, so I can determine how glossy or how not glossy it is from here. I think somewhere around here. I'm actually just going to go in and paint a little bit more under the eyes. Something like this. And I'll also go to the back and I'll just pin this in also. Okay, that looks good. Now let's check that in the principled BSDF and let's see how that looks. Okay, in EV that looks nice. Let's take a look at it in Cycle Render Engine. Okay, also looks nice right there. And I'm going to just bring back the pose on this character. And also, if you didn't know, when posing your characters, you can save your pose in the assets browser. So just come down here, choose assets browser, and then let's say you make a different pose. Let's just say something like this. Let me turn on simplify so that this rate is not so slow. So let's say you just make a pose like this. You can select everything with A, and then under assets, create pose assets. Make sure to choose your current file, and then you can name this arms pose, and then you can create. And now you have your main pose, and you have your arm pose. So you can save all your poses just in case you're testing different poses. You can save them to the asset browser. Okay, that looks nice. And I'm just going to go from the second camera view again, and let's go into render mode to see how this looks. I'll turn off simplify. And you can use Ctrl B to just bevel, not to bevel, sorry, to box select an area of the render that you just want to focus on. Ctrl B is the shortcut, and then you can just tell Blender to render only the eyes. Okay, I think the reflection there should look nice, and I'm going to render everything now. And what was the other thing we wanted to change from this render? Yeah, so we wanted to add subsurface scattering on the clothes, sorry, on the character. So let's see how that's looking. I'll go into the render view, and 0.8 should be fine. Okay, let's render this out again. And anytime I'm at this stage, like finalizing stuff, I just find myself rendering stuff over and over and over again, just to compare where we were versus where we want to be. So one other cool trick for you, if you're rendering lots of images and you want to compare them, you can actually render them on different slots. So on slot 1, I rendered this image. Then on slot 2, this was the image that I rendered. Then if I go to slot 3, we can F12, and it's going to render a new image right here, and then we'll be able to compare what is going to be rendered now versus what we rendered before. So let's leave this again to render. The render time is 1 minute and 30 seconds. So let's just sit in silence for the next 1 minute and 30 seconds. Okay, someone asked a question. You said you created this for a student. Was it for one time or it took days last week? So this took a lot of weeks. So what I see or what I meant to say was that while creating this character, okay, so in my mentorship program, if you join my mentorship program, I'm going to teach you how to create 3D characters from start to finish, like from a cube to final renders and turntables and all of that. So this character was the character I was creating, and then my student was creating another character. So my mentorship program is for 12 weeks. So it took us over the span. I was creating this character only while I was in class, so it has taken me over the span of 12 weeks. That's like 3 months. That's not usually the amount of time I'll spend on a character, but since I was teaching how to do it, I had to show the full process of creating a 3D character from start to finish. So yeah, I've been working on this one since I think October. So yeah, I'm just now doing the final renders and making it presentable so I can post this on IG, on Instagram. Yeah, okay, so the render is done. This is what we had before. This is what we have now. Before, now. There's not much difference except on the eye. If I just mark that out, so this is what we have now. This is before. And which one do we prefer the most? I think I prefer this, the first one we had actually. So I'll just go in and tone down the roughness around these areas right here, just so that it's not as rough. Okay, and what else? The textures look nice on this, and then we are going to try to fix this. It's going a bit crooked, so we just try to fix that up also. Okay, let's do that. I'll go to the layout, and then let's go back to refine the roughness map, and then we don't need this part to be as reflective, so I'm going to vertex paint. And I'm just going to clear the pose first before I actually start painting. Let's choose a black color and we'll just paint this over. Okay, something like this should be fine. And yeah, that should be fine. And now also let's fix up the clothes deformation a little bit. So I'll just pose this character. I'll go to the main view, and I'll just take this into the material preview, and let's fix up right here. You can see it's a bit crooked, so let's fix that. I'll go to sculpt mode and I have a shift key on this, and I'm just going to adjust this until it starts to look in a much better position. And I think that looks better. Let's also bring this up, and I think I want to add like seams, like just indication of seams, like right here between the clothes. So I think I might do that right now. Okay, this definitely looks better than what we had before. Okay, someone said teach us clothes material. The material for this is actually really simple. Actually, it's just a material from Polyhaven. So I have the Polyhaven add-on and all their textures. I have most of their textures here, and I just choose a fabric texture. And what's the name of this one? Telenka. So if I just look for that, so this one I just dragged and dropped it right here. And I didn't change any setting except the scale settings on the mapping, so you can just change this. And then what I changed for the cloth material, I just painted in this base color, and then I use that as the base color for this. And yeah, that's basically it. There's nothing like genius going on. But actually, if you want to see how you can enhance some of your materials, I made a video on my Instagram. I should probably post this to YouTube too. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, just go ahead and do that right now. Let me show you the video actually. If I go to Reels, so just go to my Instagram, is Kenny's Art on Instagram, and then find this video right here. I showed a little bit how to make your PBR setups look much nicer, and I was doing it for clothes. So just go ahead, check out this video right here. So you add in, I'm not going to explain it, just go and find it, and then make sure to follow me on Instagram. Nice. Okay, let's get back to what we're doing. Okay, I said I wanted to add seams right here. Just between these two different colors, I want to add seams. So how do we go about that now? Let's see. Okay, I think I'm going to add a bump material, a bump texture. Let's go into a texture paint workspace. I'll just go back to solid view for a moment, and then I'll add a bump image texture. So I'll just click that, and yeah, we can just change this to 4K, and I'm going to add. Okay, nice. That image texture should be added somewhere in this material slots right here. Let's just move this around here. And so here's what I want to do. If I Ctrl Shift, let's click on this, and I choose a black color, and I just paint this in. I'll increase the strength. If I just paint this in, and I go into the material preview mode. Okay, so you should just see this. Something like this is what I want to achieve on the clothes. So I'll go back to solid view, and then I'm going to choose the color right here. I'll get rid of this one. Okay, and now how do we actually do this? Because I need to see. Okay, let's just plug the bump into the base color, into the normal for now, and then if I paint on this, we should see the bump coming through. Let me remove this, and let's paint on this. Okay, something like this. I'll paint outside edges right here. Just a little bit of indication of like a seam, like a transition between the two colors. I probably need to blur this out, but it's fine for now. And I'll turn off the strength. I'm going to use maximum strength, and I'll also turn on stabilized stroke. Now let's just paint this in. This will take some time to do. A lot of Ctrl-Z involved. Let me just make this much bigger. Oh, and yeah, anytime you're painting textures in Blender, just make sure to save. So I didn't save, and the image texture just closed, so let me go ahead and save that. And I believe is a bump, this one, and press Alt S to save this, and then just save this. Okay, I'm going to do that again. Okay, I'll make sure that the bump is actually connected to the principled BSDF. I'll remove the displacement for now. Okay, and I just keep on drawing this. Oh, I keep pressing Ctrl-Z, and this node keeps moving back to where it was. Okay, and we're just going to draw this seam all the way around this clothes, which is going to take some time. Let's do it so that the cloth looks nicer. Okay, and if you zoom out, that's not very visible from afar, but we're going to deal with that later on. Let's just for now go around. Okay, and let's do this a couple more times and then we should be done. Okay, this looks nice. Now I'm just going to use the blow brush and we're going to blow these edges out just a tiny bit. I'll turn off stabilized stroke on this one. And this one also. I'll just do that all the way to the back. And after doing all of this, we will now actually check if this made a difference in our render. Okay. Excuse me. And okay, let's go ahead and we can plug back the normal into this bump texture, and yeah, plug the displacement back up. And what else do we want to do? I want to see if we can use, I'm going to duplicate this. Alright, let me also save this image texture. And now, okay, I didn't mean to do that. Control Z. Okay, I want to use this image texture to drive the base color somehow, so I might just multiply these two together and mix underscore color. I'll place this right here. Actually place that into the factor. Then we can place the shed base color into the first socket and also into the second socket. And then we can use a hue saturation value node. I'll plug that into the first, and then if we take the value down a little bit, you can see what that's doing. Let's see, can I just remove these two and then use a soft light? Okay, that works somehow. And if I plug this into the base color, let's see what that looks like. Okay. Doesn't look too bad, but I think I need to refine the mask a little bit more. Okay. This looks good. I need to refine this area a little bit more. Let's do that. I'm going to select this, go into the texture paints, and then let's just refine this area. Then let's blur this out. Okay. All right, nice. I'm just going to blow this out a little bit more. I almost forgot that I was on a live stream and I forgot to talk for a little bit there. But yeah, I think this looks good. Let's see it in cycles. Let's see from the camera view. I'm going to tone it down a little bit. right? And then let's just render this out to see what it looks like. Okay, let's render this out. Rendering, I'll go to slot 4 and then let's render this out. Okay, I have already spent an hour here and I didn't have any like end goal for this live stream, to be honest. So once this render is done, let's see. I might be done with the live stream. And yeah. Okay, this render is taking much longer than I expected it to take. It's taking 6 minutes. I don't know why it's doing that. Probably because I am also recording and doing other stuff. So I'm just going to cancel this render right now. It's taking too long. Should I cancel this? Okay, yes, I'm going to cancel it. And let me just close Blender, and I think I'll open Blender up again, but let me just try rendering with my CPU. Yeah, that is going to take even longer. So cancel this. Okay, so that render is taking too long, probably because I'm live streaming and I'm trying to render. So I think I'm just going to call it here for this live stream. I'm sorry if this live stream was not like very cohesive. I didn't plan on live streaming, but yeah, thank you guys for joining the live stream, and I'll see you guys with a better live stream next week, Wednesday. Also, if you want to learn how to make 3D characters like this, check out the first link in the description. Join the mentorship program, and I'm going to see you guys there. Bye.